again. I am Rena. Welcome to Saturday Shares. We're having some technical difficulties getting our guest on right now, so please bear with us. We just had a phone chat to make sure all the settings are okay. I hope they are. Let me see. Oh, there she is. Invite you to. Fingers crossed. Yay! You did it! I'm so proud of you. How are you?
I'm tired, but I'm good.
Good.
New mom.
Good. Yes, tired.
Yeah.
So everyone, this is my friend Sasha. Sasha and I met through Erin. Erin was a guest on the show a few weeks ago. And Sasha was one of the first friends who I mentored through IVF. We met years ago through Erin and then reconnected through this journey. And I'm so glad that we did reconnect. It's always great to
Me too.
see old friends and you know, talk about all the good stuff. Your story is intense. I'm just going to warn everyone right now. Sasha has been through a lot as far as infertility as well as her birth story. And I'm so thankful that you are here and willing to share your story. So basically, give an introduction, who you are, where you're from, that sort of stuff, a little bit of background. And then start from the beginning of your journey trying to conceive and where it went. And I'll ask you questions along the way. And of course, as I said, if anything is feeling uncomfortable, we won't talk about it. This is completely led by you. And if any of my questions you're not interested in answering, please just say so. I want this to be a safe and comfortable space for you.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm Sasha. I'm from Hamilton. Basically have been, well, I'm 40 now, which is scary to think about, but
41.
40 and finally a mom. So this is really exciting. And it was an awesome 40th birthday present. But yeah, so, I mean, I never had a pregnancy scare, like even, you know, with any relationship I had. So I kind of knew something was up. And when I started dating Brock, which was almost 3 years ago, we talked about kids from the get-go and that we wanted to have kids. And I said, you know, I've never really had a pregnancy scare. I feel like something could be going on. Asked him if he was open to going to a fertility doctor like 6 months into our relationship. And because we decided, you know, we're getting older and we wanted to have kids before getting married or anything, because really that's more important to us. So, yeah, so that's what we did. So we went to Heart Fertility to see Dr. Sapita, who is amazing, by the way, like such an awesome doctor and totally in your corner and takes his time and just old school. And he was just like, I adore him. But yeah, so he helped out. We basically have unexplained infertility. So there was no reasoning, which is hard to swallow because you go in there thinking that you're going to find out why is this not happening, because we were, you know what, we weren't using protection. We were just trying and like seeing what happens because we love each other and we're like, let's just do this.
Do it.
Nothing was happening. So we're like, all right. So, yeah. So anyways, he said it was unexplained. So I had first gone on meds to do like just have sex and try on our own, like so timed intercourse. That didn't work. And then we went to the IUI phase. So we started with just Femera, so the pills, and then took that. I was feeling really excited. As you know, it's like an exciting but nerve-wracking process. So I was excited that went in for the pregnancy test. You know, you feel pregnant every time. And you're always, I'm like, oh, this symptom, I feel pregnant right now. This is definitely the time. But again, it wasn't. We did that 4 more times. So usually with IUIs, they only suggest 3. Yeah, but I was pushing before IVF. That scared me a little bit. And the financial aspect of it too. Like it's not a cheap process. So I asked Dr. Sapita, like, since it's unexplained, can we just try a couple more? So he said, yeah, but we're going to use Gonalef. So we're going to be a little bit more aggressive. So we did an aggressive IUI for the last one. And I had, I think like, because I have a lot of eggs too, which is like, you know, my AMH was high for my age. So I had, I think, five follicles. And he was just like, I don't usually do IUIs with this, but we're going to try. And if you have multiples, we'll figure it out then. I'm like, all right, cool. So we went for it. Definitely felt like I was pregnant that time. And again, we weren't. So it's just the emotional part of that is hard. Like it's, you know, it's one thing after another. You're going in super hopeful and nothing happens. So, by that point we had a consult with Dr. Sapita. Brock said, let's just do it. Like, let's just do IVF. Like, who cares? We want this. Like, money doesn't matter.
Right.
So, yeah. So we went in for the consult and Dr. Sapita's like, you guys are great candidates for IVF. So we started that whole process, which is a lot. As you know, like it's hard on your body.
Well,
but
hard on
emotionally. Yeah. So we did. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So yeah, we started the process and they started me. I responded well to meds, so which was nice. So I was getting a lot of follicles. I think I had 21 at the time. So yeah, it wasn't too bad, the needle part of it. Brock hates needles, so he'd leave the room every time I gave myself a needle. So yeah, super supportive, but not really into needles. Yeah, and then we did the egg retrieval. The egg retrieval was not what I expected. I don't know what I expected. It's hard. Like that. Yeah, it is emotionally hard. Like you said, it's super hard on your body. But I was excited for it and did the egg retrieval. They retrieved 18, 11 were mature, and then we ended up with 4 embryos. Yeah, so it was good. But then, you know, at the time I remember messaging Aaron and being like, oh, we got 4 embryos. Like you think in your head, you have 20 eggs, you're going to have like 20 kids, you know, like to have all these like things to go through. But anyways, 4 is a great number. And I realized that now because it only takes 1. And so, yeah, we had 4. I bugged Dr. Spita to transfer 2 because of my age and because of all the medication, like you're on progesterone, estrogen, a breast cancer background in my family, and I was just not comfortable doing that over and over again. So I fought him for a bit on it, and then he finally gave in and said, that's fine. We'll transfer the 2 least graded embryos. So like they grade the embryos, as I'm sure a lot of people know, and it they transferred the 2 ugliest embryos. Right. So yeah, and then that's how I got pregnant with Levi. So it was the first transfer, and that was awesome and exciting. And yeah, and so what was I gonna say? Yeah, got pregnant with him. Obviously just one of them took. So, pregnancy, I hated.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to lie. Like I loved the idea of him and obviously like we wanted him so much, but I think I had every symptom that you could possibly have during pregnancy. So yeah,
That was all of your pictures that you posted. You always had the cutest pictures.
Yeah. Cause it's like fake Instagram. You look so no, but I was
pregnancy at all.
Okay, well that's good. That's kind of how I wanted to look. And I hate saying that because I wanted it so much, but it's, you know, it was a difficult pregnancy for me. And even after the retrieval, like they were monitoring me because I had blood clot issues after the egg retrieval. So it was just like one thing after another kind of that happened.
The egg retrieval you mentioned was more difficult than you thought. And
yeah.
I feel like we talked about that.
Yeah.
And first of all, again, thank you for trusting me to help you
Oh,
through.
you were awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, friend sharing is the
Yeah.
more you know, the easier it'll be. But so with your egg retrieval, you
Yeah.
have complications after. Was it difficult to retrieve your eggs? Was it more painful than usual? Like, did doctors say anything about that?
Yeah, so it was Dr. Sapita warned me like it's uncomfortable, but I thought I would be completely under. So yeah, my thinking was like I'm going to be out, who cares? They gave me 2 Ativans before I went in, and then but you're awake. Like it's like twilight sedation, right? So you're in and out. And I remember him, like, I'd wake up and I'd squeeze a stress ball. And I remember them giving me the stress ball and being like, why do I need this? Like, I'm going to be out. And she's like, no, you're like somewhat sedated. So I remember waking up and hearing him, we got 5. And then I'd go back under. But I remember that pain, like,
Yeah.
you feel it. And it's uncomfortable. And then afterwards I had a little bit of hyperstimulation, so my ovaries were inflamed, I guess, essentially. And then I got a blood clot, so I was having chest pain, headaches. Something was wrong. Called my family doctor. They didn't do anything. Called Dr. Zapita. He was on the phone with the hospital getting me in right away. Like, he's a fertility doctor, and he acted like he had my back the whole time. Like, he's amazing. So we got into the hospital. I did test positive for a blood clot. And then they had to monitor me. So it was just a lot. Like, it felt like one thing after another. And then I had an SCH at the beginning of the pregnancy. So I was bleeding, thinking I'm losing the baby. But that didn't happen, obviously.
Right.
So, which is awesome. Yeah, and then it was just a hard pregnancy. And then I made it to 37 and a half weeks. So they had planned on inducing me. Because
Okay.
I guess with, I talked to my OB, and she's wonderful too. And I just said, with, I read a lot. So I know that IVF can have sometimes a higher risk of stillbirth. And with my age and everything, I was a little worried about that. So we had talked about inducing me like at 39 weeks, just for peace of mind. Like, and plus I just wanted to have the baby. It's done. Yeah. So basically, I went in at 37 weeks to labor and delivery. I was having sciatic pain really bad, and no sign of labor, like was not dilated. And then basically went in. Brock came with me, which he never does because he's busy. He owns his own business, and he's working. And I'm always like, babe, don't worry about it. Like, I'll go in and get checked out. You don't have to come.
Right.
That day, he's like, no, I'll come pick you up. Left work, which was, unusual. So we went together, and they're like, yeah, it seems to be like sciatic pain. And I'm like, okay. So they monitored me for a couple hours in there. And then they decided that day, because I could barely walk with the sciatic pain, that they were going to try to induce me. So yeah, so they put the balloon catheter in, and then I was going to come back the next day and start the induction process and go into labor. And then they put the balloon in, and I remember them putting an IV of fluids, because I'd been there for all morning, basically. And then I think it was like 5 minutes later, I was just not feeling right. And I told the nurse, I said, like, I don't feel good. I felt dizzy. So she took my blood pressure, and it was 55/40. So I was crashing. And so from that point, she runs out. 10 or 11 doctors and nurses run in.
Isn't that this part?
Yeah, it was honestly probably the scariest moment of my life. And I'm glad I can talk about it now, because I've had a hard time talking about it. Had some PTSD from it, but yeah, so they put the railings up, and then Brock was standing there, and they're wheeling me out saying, like, we're doing an emergency C-section. My body was shaking because I was going into shock. So they wheeled me out. I couldn't say bye to Brock. It was just all happened really quickly. Wheeling me into the operating room, didn't get me in a gown, literally like ripped my pants off. Everybody's around me doing everything and I don't know what's going on. I'm not talking to anybody. Then the anesthesiologist came over and said, like, we're going to put you under. Have you eaten anything today? No. Okay, perfect. And then the doctor came over and held my hand. It wasn't my OB because she was not there at the time, wasn't on call. So that was scary too, I think. So he was great though. He held my hand and he said, we got you. Like, we got this. You're going to be fine. Don't worry. And then I fell asleep. And then I woke up and I couldn't talk. And I remember waking up being like, "What? I don't know what happened," but they had to intubate me. So I almost didn't make it, and neither did Levi. So yeah, they that's why I couldn't talk. They had to bring me back essentially, but they did an emergency C-section. They got him out, and Brock said like he had no clue what was going on the whole time until they left him there. And then he was in the room wondering what was happening. And then one of the doctors came in and said, "We got your son. We're just working on mom." So he yeah. So I got a text the next day that he had sent at that time because we couldn't talk. Just saying like how much he loved me and that, yeah, he didn't want anything to happen. Yeah, so it was a lot and I'm obviously thankful that like we both, made it. But if I had not been at the hospital, like we both wouldn't have made it. It would have been minutes that, we both would have died. So I was just in the right place at the right time. And basically I was bleeding internally.
Okay.
So my placenta detached and, that was probably a sign with the back pain. But I didn't know anything like that could happen, to be quite honest. So, yeah. And then I woke up, was still not really with it. And I woke up with a baby. So, they brought him in. He was in the NICU for a day. So they brought him in. I got to hold his little hand for a minute. And then I couldn't see him for 24 hours. Plus I couldn't walk because of the C-section. And yeah, but he's great. So I'm good now and it hits me at different times, but I'm feeling a lot better and I'm just happy that it worked out and that we're here. So
I mean,
yeah.
I always say now that I've gone through what I've gone through with infertility and loss, that
Yeah.
these things happen for a reason. And
Yeah.
there was a reason why Brock was with you that day.
Yeah.
But how intense that you go in thinking you're getting your sciatic checked out, and then the next
Yeah.
up with your baby around you.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry you went through that. You are a warrior. You are a rock
Thank you.
star. I have to go through the infertility gauntlet
Mhm.
and have such a crazy birth story as well.
Yeah.
Like just what you were saying. It's like I feel like I would get this far and then a brick wall would go up. I'd get
Yeah.
this far and then a brick wall would come up. With you,
Yeah.
everything just kept happening and happening and happening and happening.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so
Thank
glad
you.
we're in the right place at the right time. And
Yeah, me too.
Because if you didn't
Yeah.
get that sciatic pain, like, so they said, like, what is there something that caused that, or it's just how the pregnancy?
I didn't have placenta previa or anything indicating that would happen. So they don't know what caused it. They don't really have an answer. And I think that was a little bit hard for me to accept as well, even after the fact, because I'm like, I don't understand how this happened. But basically they said that if I was at home and it had happened, I would have had minutes. So, yeah, so that's why everything happened so quickly. Yeah. And I'm just happy that we were at the hospital because, yeah, but it's crazy what your body, like you said, like your body's telling you something's wrong because I hate going to the doctor and I'm one to just like brush it off and be like, I'm fine. But that morning I remember just thinking like, I just think I need to go get checked out. So I'm thankful that I did.
So glad that
Yeah.
lesson to everyone. And I try to explain this to my husband, like a mom's tuition.
Yeah.
Explain it, but like, you know your body best. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you listen to the signs, because often
Yeah.
I'll brush things off and I'll be like, it's not that bad. So I'm really glad you listened to your body.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
So I know Levi is still pretty fresh.
Yeah. 4 months.
He's what? Sorry?
4 months.
Oh, he is already? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought he was only 3. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
So he's 4 months, and obviously I have we do not need to talk about next steps or anything like that.
Yeah.
Did this experience affect anything for if you are deciding to have kids in the future?
Yeah. So it did. I right after that happened, it scared me to death, basically. And I always wanted more. And after that I kept saying like he's gonna be an only child. Like I can't go through that again. Lately my mind's been changing which is crazy. But I just adore him, and I love being a mom. And so I did call my fertility clinic, and the front desk girl, Fatima, she's hilarious. But I called and they know what happened. I called and she's like, why are you calling? And she goes, are you kidding me? Like, you're actually thinking? I'm like, yeah, I know. It's crazy. Like, because I didn't think I would be thinking about it. But yeah, but I think too, when you have embryos too, it's like, I don't want to get rid of them. So I don't like that bothers me too. So yeah, so she was shocked that I called, but Dr. Sapita's obviously excited. So we're just kind of like figuring it out, like just kind of talking about it.
Okay. So I'm 100% shocked. I was not expecting that answer at all.
Neither was I. It's okay.
Okay. Great. I support you.
Yeah. Thanks.
So, medically, does that mean that you have to be monitored differently? Does that mean a higher risk for this happening again? Like, what's the medical implication?
So I did talk to my OB about it. And another thing too is like I'm still suffering PTSD, depression, went on medication to help with that, and I was against that, but I definitely needed it, and especially to be a good mom to Levi. I wasn't in a good place mentally. So she basically said like I would be monitored extremely close, probably put on bed rest near middle probably of the pregnancy. And definitely she said there is a chance of it happening again. It would be another C-section. It would be planned. She doesn't know if they'd put me under or not. She thinks maybe because of the PTSD, just she'd be worried about my reaction to being in there and having stuff going on. So we talked about that. So it would, I think I feel a little bit robbed of the birth experience because I don't have an experience. I was just woke up with a baby, which is a little weird. But yeah, it would just be a different, I still gave birth to him. Like I know that, like I know that from the pain from the C-section. But yeah, it would be, yeah, I have the scar. But it would be a planned C-section, and I'd be monitored a lot more close, and there is a higher chance of it happening again. But they don't know why it happened, so I really don't know. So it's a lot of like unknowns too.
A lot, like as I said at the beginning, your journey to conceive, your birth story, like it's and a lot of yours are unknown. Unexplained infertility, unknown why you had internal bleeding and were crashing.
Mm-hmm.
Unknown. Yeah. How do you move on from the unknown? Because, and like, how do you, if you were to give someone advice who has that frustration that they don't have, we were unexplained infertility too. I understand your feeling completely. It's almost like if you're given a diagnosis, it's easier because you're like, okay, this is what it is. This is what I need to do.
Yeah.
But if it's unexplained, everything's all up in the air all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, emotions are all over. So if you like your whole journey is basically
Unexplained.
how did you like what motivated you to keep going? How did you keep your emotions and minds in check? What advice do you have anyone who is unexplained as well? How did you
I think you just
for that?
I think you just have to stay positive, and everybody, it's such a cliche thing to say, but you just have to have hope that it's going to happen for you, even when it feels like it's not going to happen. Like, I was not going to give up. I gave myself kind of an end date as to when I would stop, obviously. Like, I thought, okay, we did IVF, once the embryos are gone, if the transfers don't work, then we're done. And then but I wasn't giving up on being a mom either. Like, I'm not closed off to adoption or anything like that. I knew it would happen. I didn't know how. But I just kept the faith that, I would be a mom. Like, this is what I want to do. And that's it. Like, it's just trying to stay positive, and the unknown is the unknown, but you can't predict anything anyways. So it's kind of just, you have to go with it. And that's life. At the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to do it and keep on trying.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm in such awe because again, I know what the fertility journey is like, and it is hard. It is. And I'm so glad we were able to connect through your journey. I hope it's helpful. I'm here always and whenever you need, as you know. I love that we have reconnected through this.
Yeah, me too.
Don't wish this on anyone.
Yeah, me neither.
It is hard, but at least we have each other, and we talk about it. Now we have more friends. Actually, your Hamilton crew, as soon as Aaron got on, everyone's like, I want to talk next. I want to talk.
Right?
All of you who are willing to share your stories. Did you have any last advice to hand out to anyone who's going through infertility, or any advice for anyone who might be struggling with their trauma of going through and it not working, trauma of going through infertility and then having an extremely difficult birth like you did, a difficult pregnancy? Do you have any last words for anyone?
Yeah, I think trauma is different for everybody, and everybody deals with it differently. I think for myself, the gym is a big outlet for me. So once I was allowed to go back to the gym and work out, that was huge. My mental state changed a lot. So I think just, finding something you love outside of fertility, outside of pregnancy, outside of like the trauma that you experience, just to keep your mind in the game. Like, it can be overwhelming, and it did take over my mind for probably a while before I got help for it, and then just talk about it. And sometimes it's hard to do that, and you don't want to be a burden on people, but people want to help you, and people want to hear you out, and people that love you want you to be okay. So I think just being open and talking about things, as hard as it is. Like, you can ask Erin. I called her after it happened, and I'm trying to tell her the story, and I can't get through 2 sentences of how the birth happened. But the more I talked about it, the easier it becomes. Like, I'm not a complete basket case anymore. I'm just able to talk about it, and I'm hoping that it helps somebody else too. And it's like brings awareness to it, because I had no idea that could even happen, to be quite honest.
Until you told me your story. And I'm like, what? Yeah.
So almost dying, I don't know, puts a new perspective on things for people, I think. So I just think, like, stay positive and talk about your journey as much as you can, and as much as you're comfortable with.
I think too. I think that's a really great message. And again, you having gone through what you did, and it being so fresh still. Yeah. I commend you. I love you. You are so strong. And I really appreciate you sharing your story with us today.
Well, I appreciate you too, and all your help with everything, and like talking about it through everything, and your book, and I love it.
Good. I'm so glad to be that source for you. That was
Yeah.
and because I just reached a point too. I don't think I realized my trauma was trauma until really.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started talking about it, it does. It peels off
Yeah.
later. You feel better. And then once you realize the reception you have and how much it helps other people, it just, I knew this is what I was meant to do with my story.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you are in a space where you feel like you're ready to do that with your story too.
Yeah.
And if you are going for round 2, if you decide, I am here for you for that round as well.
Thank you. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, maybe just sit with it for a bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Through a lot, girl.
Right? I know. Like, take a day at a time. Be good.
But also I understand that mother internal, like, I'm not done and I'm ready for this to happen.
Yeah.
Age, and I understand all of that too.
Yeah.
It's ticking. It's like
It's weird.
It's a clock.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's really weird. It's not explainable, but it's there.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So beautiful, even though you say you're so tired, but for having a 4-month-old.
I am.
So go.
Thank you.
Yours. I am so glad we chatted today, and
Me too.
what happens next, whatever you decide, and we will definitely still be in touch.
Sounds awesome. Thanks, Rena. Love you.